inside them. There must be thousands of gallons of it down there.
Well, there were barrels and barrels at the hunter's place also.
From here, I'll have a magnificent view of the hospital compound. In truth, the part that's visible from the road is only a fraction of it. The vegetation conceals a much larger area. More of that barbed wire that adorns all the city's buildings. If I get up close enough, I can hear a slight buzz, a sure sign that this fence is electrified. Okay, I'll wear the gloves to cut the electrified wire.
Ka-clang.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Let's see what's down here. It's a trapdoor, and it looks like it hasn't been used in a long, long time.
Oh, hey, we're in the hospital. Huh. It's, the melted folk.
A container covered in dust. It's not properly closed. The label says hydrofluoric acid.
Really? Well, that would definitely melt somebody.
It's the only exit on this side of the catwalk. A ventilation hole covered with a grate. It doesn't look promising, but any place is better than this gateway to hell where I am now. Let's see if this grate can be removed. Perfect. It looks like this hole leads to a passageway on the other side.
Well, of course it does.
It's an enormous, wrinkled plastic bag that looks like it wants to escape from the cart's trash can.
A body bag?
This glass cabinet has dozens of medications stored inside, classified by type: antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, diuretics, and, painkillers.
And you know what those would go for on the black market back at the concentration camp?
Locked, of course. I'm starting to get annoyed with this sense of ownership I see in all the people with closets, lockers, and other storage furniture in the city.
Well, let's see, what do we got here?
I'd rather use a key to open this case, but I'm a bit short on time, so...
I didn't know we were supposed to use a key.
Who is it? Who's there?
Oh, excuse me,
What are you doing here? Have you come to steal something? Take one more step and I'll call the soldiers.
No, wait, please, don't do that.
Security, this is Nurse Uma Grundy. I need you to come right away.
No, wait! You can't turn me in. Those soldiers will kill me if they find me here.
You should have thought of that before you walked into this trap. You'd better save your breath and get out of here fast before those savages get here.
A trap means they know he was coming.
Steal? No, you're wrong about me. I'm not a thief.
You just broke the glass on one of our pharmacy cabinets. What am I supposed to think?
There's a reasonable explanation for all of this, I promise you.
You'd better be convincing when those soldiers get here. I can hear them coming now. Come on, get out of here now while you still have time.
I thought the first priority of people in the medical profession was to save lives, and you're going to get me killed.
Don't you dare judge me. You have no idea what we're going through in here. Our priority is our patients, and yours should be to get out of here as fast as you can, if you value your life.
Wait a minute. Did you say Uma? Nurse Uma?
Yes, that's my name.
Wait, please don't turn me in. I know your father. I saved his life just a few hours ago. They were going to deport him to the refugee camp, but I was able to stop it.
My God, did you say my father? Tell me, how is he? Has anything happened to him?
Don't worry, Uma. He's safe. He told me about you and your work in this place. He was worried. He'll want to know that you're all right. Wait, please don't turn me in.
This is Nurse Uma Grundy. It turned out to be a false alarm. You don't have to come, thank you.
Thank you, Uma. You did the right thing. My name is Michael.
Didn't even
Now you
prove
should
that
explain why
he
you
knew it
burst in
was
here
her
like
father.
that. What are you looking for, Michael?
I came to get medicine. I need a cure for the dissolved.
Cure? There's no such thing. You won't find it here or anywhere else. The authorities distributed a memo among the medical staff months ago. I'm sure you can still find a copy of it around here somewhere. It told us that they've definitely abandoned the search for a medicine. You made a mistake risking your life to get in here. The only thing we store here is pain. This place is a tomb for those poor infected devils, but also for the people who work here. I'm sorry, Michael. The dissolved are condemned to death.
No, that can't be. There has to be a solution, a cure. Oh man, poor Rod, poor Colin. But I heard in the refugee camp, they said a cure is being produced and stored here. Well, if that's not the case, what's the purpose of a building like this?
The Army deliberately keeps that rumor about a possible cure alive. You see, as long as people still have some hope left, it is much easier to control the city more effectively. But it's a lie.
I understand.
This medical center was built just after the Great Wave, taking advantage of some abandoned underground facilities. That was when the authorities were beginning to work on their project to rebuild the city. They told us the building was going to be used to take in the first patients. Of course, we had no idea the disease would become so widespread. I left my job in a clinic downtown to come here. I wanted to lend a hand. They demanded total confidentiality about our work to avoid causing panic in the population. Not even my father knew what we were really doing in here.
Yes, he told me that when I asked him about this place.
At first, we treated the patients with great care. There was medicine to ease their suffering and even research into a possible cure. Everything was going smoothly.
And then what happened?
Things started to go wrong. When the number of patients multiplied, we couldn't keep up. And then we began to run out of even the most basic supplies. And that was when the Army took over complete control of the center.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Then they sealed off the building. No one was allowed to leave, not even us. We doctors and nurses have been shut in here for months, isolated without even a glimpse of daylight. They say it's for security reasons. It's for our own safety. Oh yeah. Now our medical care is limited to wrapping up the patients in plastic bags, like the ones they use to transport cadavers, and then simply waiting for them to die, doing what little we can do to ease their suffering. Then we dispose of their remains, dissolving the black bags in acid for decontamination. And that's about it. That's all we can do with the resources we have, and sometimes it's just too much to bear.
Morphine. Lots of morphine. You know, they used to do that during, I think, World War I.
Condemned to die. I heard their cries of pain out there. What really happens to the dissolved?
These people suffer the most excruciating pain and die in the most horrible way I've ever seen. The first symptoms are bouts of nausea and fainting, which become more frequent and prolonged as the disease progresses, until in the end their entire metabolism enters a state of shock. Then their entire cell structure dissolves. It simply disintegrates. There's no medical explanation. It just happens. But there's something even stranger about the disease.
What could be stranger than what you just told me?
The dissolved become erratic, unpredictable, eccentric. They're uncontrollable. That's why the Army fears them. They're afraid of their unpredictable behavior, but also of their strange messages. So the sole function of this place is to keep them locked away, hidden, and under the Army's control, until death takes them off their hands, one by one. It's also why people who harbor the dissolved are punished. And it's also the reason for the existence of the cleanup brigades.
They need to send the cleanup brigade out to Suicide Park.
But I thought they were just controlling the patients to keep the disease from spreading.
But that's a lie, a blatant lie. The spread of the disease is accelerating. The number of cases is multiplying every day. But it's not contagious. We doctors and nurses have been treating the sick for months, in direct contact with them and their remains. And the rate of contagion among us is no higher than out there. The Army is lying.
But then, how is the disease spread?
We don't know, Michael. No one knows. What we do know is that it's not caused by direct contact with the victims. There's another reason for the Army's secrecy about the dissolved. Fear. It's human nature to fear the unknown. We tend to panic when faced with something we don't understand. And this damn disease is more than any of us can handle.
And what is it that makes the dissolve so unpredictable and dangerous?
They know, Michael. You probably think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, they know. They talk about events no one else knows about. They sense things. They bring back information from the places they go. And they talk to the dead there, Michael. They communicate with the dead. They know, Michael. That's all.
They're just sick people, Uma.
No, they're more than just ordinary sick people. You wouldn't talk like that if you had been living with them, and their messages and their prophecies all these months.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the dissolved make prophecies?
Let me tell you a story. When I first came to the center, I became friendly with a patient, a 13-year-old girl. All the time I was taking care of her, she never stopped chatting. She told me all about the underground highways. She said she went there every day.
Underground highways?
She said they all went there when they lost consciousness. Obviously, I felt great pity for the girl, but in time I also came to feel tremendous fear. I was afraid of that poor, hopeless child. Her visions, her dreams, her messages terrified me. And then one night she sat down next to another patient, an older woman who looked surprisingly healthy. According to our calculations, this woman still had a few months to live. The woman had just lost consciousness. "Leave me alone with her," the girl said to me. "It won't be long now." And she took the woman's hand. And just seconds later, the woman started to dissolve, shrieking and writhing in pain, until there was nothing left of her but a puddle of brown, viscous liquid. The girl turned to me and said, "I knew she was leaving us, and I didn't want her to go alone. That would have been very sad, wouldn't it, Uma?" The girl's face was still dripping with the remains of the patient. She knew what was going to happen, Michael. She saw it. From then on, my fear became uncontrollable. I felt defenseless next to her.
I understand.
Finally, my panic was so great that I refused to go anywhere near her. And I even, God forgive me, I felt secretly relieved when she herself finally dissolved. They know, Michael, and that's why they're so dangerous to the people in power now.
Basically, what the body does is an accelerated version of putrefaction.
The cleanup brigades. I've seen how they behave.
They're savages. I despise them. They're like predatory animals, heartless and unscrupulous. The rest of the staff refuses to share the facilities with them, so their lockers are out in the hallway. That's where they keep everything they need for their hunting expeditions. The GPSs, the disease detection tests, their ID badges. Each unit is made up of 2 soldiers, 1 doctor, and 1 nurse. I mean, doctors and nurses collaborating with those bloodthirsty animals. But then they say, "What do you want? It's our job, and somebody's got to do it."
Yes, that phrase sounds familiar. It's bone-chilling. Police and criminals using exactly the same words to justify their actions. You gotta do what you gotta do. That seems to be the slogan of the executioners of this new world.
Talk to my father, Michael. Tell him that I'm all right, that he shouldn't worry, that we'll be seeing each other soon, very soon.
Really?
The future is in our hands. Collaborate, rebuild, report. From the text, I say this poster must have been part of a government campaign launched after the Great Wave. The nurse's silhouette seems to fade in the light of this lamp. I'm afraid that after so many months cooped up in here, Uma is nothing more than a ghost now. Let's see. Inside, I only see dust and old papers and a tiny key.
Of course. Just grab that key. Alright, we now have the key. Open this. Alright.
A tiny lock is preventing me from opening the door, and despite its size, it seems to be very strong.
Okay, small key.
Let's see if it's the key to this closet.
Key to the closet.
Bingo!
Bingo! What'd we find? Ooh. What'd we get? What'd we get? We got GPS.
According to one of the cleanup brigade's forums, this is the device they use to navigate during their raids. Sort of like an electronic map. It looks like some satellites are actually still working after the Great Wave. Something I could easily confirm if this contraption had batteries in it.
Okay, so we're going to need batteries.
Authorized Vehicle Pass. It's the ID that allows the cleanup brigades to get in and out of the hospital compound in their macabre ambulances. From what I can tell, the Army can pump you full of lead if you try to come through the gate without one of these.
Huh.
It's an internal Army memo for the hospital's medical staff. The report talks about the failure to develop a cure for the dissolved, and what's even worse, the decision to finally abandon the search for one.
Oh, that's not good. So there is no cure. I think we have to go back. One thing about these point and click games, you do a lot of backtracking. Why is the alarm going off? Why is the alarm going off?
The street is even more desolate and silent than it was before. I guess while I was in the subterranean hospital for the dissolved, the soldiers called the curfew.
Oh yeah, curfew. Still got people on the street though.
The vehicle barrier is down, and a sentry stops anyone trying to enter on foot. I'm afraid that the refugee camp is locked up tight.
The camp is closed, Rat. Get away from the gate.
But I have to come in. It's urgent. What happened?
There's no understanding you worms. Always wanting to get out of here. Once you're outside, you're dying to get back in. One of our soldiers was killed, and the camp will remain closed until the matter is cleared up. So take a hike.
There was an attack?
Yes. Someone hit one of the sentries in the watchtowers with a rock and made him fall out. He was killed instantly. Luckily, it seems there was a witness who saw the perpetrators launch the projectile, and they've been detained. But we never trust the testimony of a rat, so we're waiting for the criminals to confess, or for the murder weapon to turn up.
Oh, we just lost audio. Blamed himself. Oh, they're in front of the firing squad.
But they're just a couple of scared kids. Don't you see that? What are you planning on doing with them?
Killing an official is punishable by death, and martial law is quite clear in this respect. They acted as adults, and they will pay for their actions as adults. As soon as they confess, or we find the weapon they used to commit the crime, we'll take care of matters. Do you have a problem with the law being enforced?
You're nothing but a gang of warped psychopathic pigs.
One more word and I'll blow your head off right now, bastard. I couldn't care less what privileges that bracelet might give you. Get out of my sight.
Those pigs are gonna kill the boys, and it'll be my fault. I'll be responsible for their deaths. I can't let that happen. I have to do something, and fast. But what?
What? What can we do? Oh no! Right.
Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight.